Guys, hello and welcome to HMWSY Season 2. Oh my goodness. We're going to say Season 2 because we don't really know if our first Season 2 episode is. It's still being edited, so...
I swear to God.
Lord, sound issues. It's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Anyways, my name is Texas De La Rosa, and I have my lovely host...
Gina Ray. Hello, everybody.
Gina Ray, everybody. Hello.
Yes.
And today we have a wonderful guest, one of my oldest and dearest friends. Not old as in old, but like... oldest that we've known each other for the longest time. Miss Hannah Hausman in the house. Hey, hello, Hannah. Make sure your microphone is always up and just kind of up here, just like that. You want to make sure it's like the host stand.
Guest in training here.
I feel like we only can see.
Oh, it's not on. Is it on?
It is.
Hello, testing. Yeah, you
These two mics are lower.
I'm gonna give that to you since you're soft. Sure, you're softer.
I can speak here.
You can speak there.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. So talking to it.
Hello.
There you go. All right, she's got a voice, y'all. All right, we have Hannah Hausman, and so Hannah, let's just kind of get to know you real fast. So again, this podcast is all about service industry, and we talk about all our crazy things that have gone on in our world. Hannah, so just real fast, where are you from? What do you do? What do you do now? Because we know you were in service, because we always have guests that are in the service industry. But what do you do now?
So
And where are you from? Yeah, let's start with that. Where are you from? My bad. I'm sorry.
I'm like, which one do I start with? So I actually grew up here in Austin, but spent a little bit of time in Corpus and San Antonio because my dad has geographical ADD. Moved back for my senior year, went to Lake Travis, and went to UT.
Okay.
And now I
teach
in Westlake.
Okay, you teach in Westlake. So what grade do you teach?
I teach 6th grade.
6th grade. How long have you been a teacher?
15 years.
15. God, it's been 15 years.
15 years.
So I remember, Hannah, we met at the Hula Hut on Lake Austin Boulevard, and we were actually hosts together. One of my first job. It actually was my first job in Austin, Texas.
Wait, so this is part of the Hula Hut crew?
She's part of the Hula Hut crew, the old school Hula Hut crew.
Texas was fucking nuts, so I need to know what actually happened. She tells all kind of crazy stories.
She's got stories. I know, but make sure it's up there, baby. But yeah, we met at Hula Hut, and the funny thing is we're so close now. We're actually neighbors. We live down the street from each other. But the crazy thing is we didn't like each other. Well, actually, I thought you were a bitch.
I was going to say,
I thought you were a bitch.
We were great friends even then. He just wasn't used to somebody sassier than he is.
She's an alpha. She is, and I'm an alpha, so I wanted to be right, and she wanted to be right, and we butted heads a lot. And I was like, she's a bitch. And she corrected me on my English all the time.
Hey, he can thank me now because he speaks perfectly.
I mean, you know, I spoke probably not the best English from West Texas. I mean, you know, Texas history is this big, world history this big.
You sound like you're still struggling, like right at the very moment. You're like, I spoke the best, like not
just
really.
Don't even care. I sound a little backwards.
Get some tequila in that old accent.
Speaking of, let's do our shots,
Yes. And then I need to hear about your weekend.
Yes.
2 weeks. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
I know, 2 weeks. I hate it. Yeah.
Cheers.
We're going to do a little cheers. If you got a drink,
Season 2.
Cheers to us, guys. We're cheersing to you, too. Okay. Whew. That spicy water of mine. It's, if you didn't, it's been a week. We'll get into that. Anyways, so you're a teacher. We worked at Hula Hut. We'll get into some fun stories here in a moment, but yeah, we always kind of like start off how the weekend goes.
Yeah.
So our 2 weekends.
2 weeks now.
Now, Gina, how was your since we started each other 2 weeks ago, so you've had 2 weekends. What have you done since then?
Okay, I'm gonna have to start taking notes since it's like 2 weeks and not one. Like recaps are tough. Like my grandma's come to visit. She said I was a good cook.
You are a good cook.
Yeah.
Getting the grandmother seal of approval.
Yeah, no, she was like, no, you're like a good cook. Like this tastes good like mine. And I was like, Grandma, cover your ears.
No shit, right?
I was like, I done made it, bitches.
Like when a mom or a grandma says that to you, you're like,
you made it in the cooking department.
As you know, this weekend was MLK weekend. Today's MLK Day, and yesterday was nuts at the bar. I served 801 drinks.
I saw you on your on Facebook.
It was crazy.
I was insane yesterday for happy hour too. I actually had 2 guests that were at my bar that literally were like, "You're handling your shit well." Because I would have lost my mind. Because they saw some of the things that I was doing. They saw how I was running in circles. And I'm by myself during happy hour, and it was fucking crazy.
You did good.
I made as much money as I made from 2 days of work yesterday at happy hour.
Yeah, people like came and gave me like a round of applause. Yeah. It was like some shit. I was like locked in. I was on Adderall, like just throwing it out there.
In the zone.
Like I was locked in. And there's a couple customers, like during New Year's when I told you there were people from Austin that came. There was a guy that was my regular here in Austin that lives in Dallas, and he saw that I was in Houston, and he was like, I take business trips, so I wanted to come see you, and he popped up and he tipped me like ridiculous amounts of money.
I love it.
And like was buying people shots, and then it was a fun weekend. I hung out with my nephew, my family, you know, fell in love, fell out of love, like I normally do.
Those weekend boys fall, you know,
Yeah,
that happens.
like,
I've had a weekend love affair.
I'm trying so
weekend
hard.
boyfriends.
Like, we've decided to usually skip this segment. I'm just trying, okay?
No, that's okay. She can, you know, keep trying. I'd love to hear all your sexcapades.
My friends literally call me and they're like, so what's going on? I'm like, fuck you. Like,
How big was it? That's the bigger question, literally.
I'm so sorry to all my family that watches this show.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, we're not. Okay. So what'd you do?
No, I had a crazy weekend myself. I've been doing some things. Since I haven't really been able to drink. Quick cap on that. I think I have an ulcer, so I've been since November been really good on food, like trying to eat healthy, drinking water only, no carbonation, just all that crazy. Basically, I'm a boring fucking bitch. It's horrible. I'm the worst Mexican right now. I can't even. Pepper is too spicy for me. Pepper, like table pepper. That's fucking embarrassing. But anyways, so I've been trying to do some other things. I can't even work out at the gym. So I started doing M-Sculpt for my butt. If you've seen the pictures, if you check out my Facebook today, I did a live video. So it's this electromagnetic energy, this paddles that go on your butt, and they clench your muscles for you. So it's like 20,000 squats I did today. Yeah, but I did it in 30 minutes and I was laying down watching.
Yeah, I think Aaron or somebody else that like knows me and you together, thank you, said something about it. They were like, Texas got butt surgery? And I was
No,
like,
it's not butt surgery.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I was live the whole time. There was no surgeon in there, trust me. But I'm just trying to get a little lift in there. I figured if I'm not working out, if I can't work out right now, I might just look at you looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, no. So were any squats done in this exercise?
No,
or
I'll show you. If you go on my Facebook or my Instagram live, you can see it. But this is the picture. I'll show you.
Texas
Just
is
see.
lazy.
I just
so
lay
what
there.
he's doing is trying
This
to
is
figure
what
out
it
a way
looks
around the
like.
gym.
Yes, it's not some little tens unit from China on Amazon.
the shake weight.
It was,
the
the shake weight. Yeah, did anyone do that shake weight?
But
Oh, I played
shake
paintball
weight
this
for your
weekend
butt.
too.
You play paintball?
Yeah.
So I did that. I started M-Sculpt, and then here. So that it's been going good. I got my third episode. Booty. There we go. Yeah, that's painful. She got hit with a paintball. We had the unveiling of our Harry's Dark Bar. Harry's Dark Bar, which is the old Score.
Mm-hmm.
So now that bar has turned into a dark room bar. Just gonna leave it there. It was very interesting. We had
No. That's not fair to people that have no idea about our world.
If you haven't been to a bar that has a dark bar in it, and especially in the gay bar scene,
It's adult.
it's an adult section.
And it's I wouldn't say fetish, but it's like, like
It could be.
It's like fetishy, but
Yeah.
like I explain it to heteros like different genres of music.
Yeah.
And some people like
There's very
rock.
dance music in there.
Yeah, some people like rock, and some people like jazz, and some people like trap, and some
I love
people
trap.
like
Oh my
Trap.
God. Trap yoga. Holy
Trap
mother of
yoga.
pearl.
girl shut.
Trap yoga is where it's at.
It was very
Forget sleepy
interesting.
yoga.
We saw a lot of things happening. There's a smoke machine in there, lasers. It's crazy.
Is it a different clientele
It's
automatically?
it was interesting. We had a different clientele because they had an indoor party that night, on Saturday night. So it brought in a whole new crowd, the bear crowd, as it were, I guess.
I love the
And
bears.
they're so sweet.
They're the nicest
I
people.
was so kind of nervous because I was like, I haven't really worked in a bear bar before, and I didn't really know, like, well, are they going to be like mean or assholes or whatever? They were the sweetest, most kind, most patient motherfuckers because it was busy. And I mean, they all waited in line, in their underwear.
Hot and sweaty
They were
with
just
every
okay,
class.
and they would get their little beer. They would go back and they would get their shot. They were like so nice, tipping really.
Tipping
it was
well.
so cute.
They give you hugs.
Yes.
Bears are the kindest people.
Are y'all saying bears?
Bear.
Okay,
Yes.
break,
She's straight. So, yeah,
okay,
yes.
so we've got to say something.
me.
You
Yeah.
are the first hetero guest we've had on the show.
I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh.
because like I'm hetero, but like
I don't think of you as hetero though.
Yeah.
Because you're one of the gals and the gals.
Yeah.
Literally. So you're like a gal pal.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're in. But yeah, that's right. So yeah, so
hetero.
Super open-minded.
Oh no, Hannah's amazing.
I need to clarify
Don't hate her because she's straight. My parents are straight.
No, we're about to do. So we know that our producer's not going to put this down here, but imagine that there's what are those? The definitions as we go. So hetero means.
Hetero means straight.
Yes. Okay. So bear means
a bigger, hairier, gay, older dudes is what I think in my mind, because that's what they all were.
And
I
kind.
don't think I'm a bear.
No,
I think they're the people
you're
that
not kind.
they've kind of been there, done that, and they just don't give a fuck anymore. They're like, kind of how I am getting now that I'm almost 40. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need that.
You're like a boo-boo bear.
I'm a boo-boo bear. I don't care. But I have money and I have things and I don't need to have. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying I'm rich or anything, but I'm just saying I'm more established.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s, I cared. I wanted glitter. I wanted Gucci. I wanted this. I wanted that. And that's what all the gay kids want. And then you get older and you're like, fucking Target is badass.
Isn't that everyone know as you get older?
I guess.
I love Target and I love bargains and I
want a bargain shop. I mean, I still don't do the thrift shopping bullshit. I can't do that. Because I'm weird about the way they smell. Like when you walk in and it smells like dirty carpet. That freaks me the fuck out, y'all. Anyway, we can't do it. Goodwill, I'm so thankful that you're a thing because I give y'all a lot of my shit. But I just can't buy anything there. I really can't. I know it sounds bougie, but I just can't.
What other terms did we use that were like? Because I realize sometimes we like.
I know what queen means.
Yeah.
Because I'm not here, bitch. Because I worked with you for 20 years.
But have you ever realized that even when you go up like north and you say something, you're like, I'm speaking English, and people are like,
they don't get it.
What? And I'm like, okay. Like what I said is like, so when we're speaking our world, it's way different. Even like, so for service industry, let's talk about that because that like kind of goes with it. Like when we say like front of the house, back of the house, when we say behind,
kitchen, expo, all
like,
those words.
And like at the bar, behind is a big one because we work and our space is probably like this wide, right?
Yeah.
To bartend. And so if you say behind, that means don't back up, don't turn back.
I don't say behind, I just smack people.
I push too.
Because I push. I'm a pusher. I'm a pusher like Mean Girls. I'm a pusher.
Don't be Regina George.
I'm in the way.
Yeah.
I am Regina George. Get in, bitch. We're going shopping. Yeah, that's me.
Mean girl.
Loser.
Mean queen.
Yeah, I know. But I say. What did
you used to say?
So yeah, let's ask her what she did, because you did a few things at Hula Hut. And was that your only service industry job you ever had? Like as far as like, I think you're in service now because you're teaching. I still think of you in service because you're doing a huge service. But
I just have to say, I still have recurring nightmares about being a cocktail waitress. I'm
I
not
do too.
even kidding.
So
as pathetic as it sounds, like I always forget, like the corner table. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't checked on them in 30 minutes, and that's a recurring dream. And I just know that they're gonna ream me as soon as I go.
If you don't know what the Hula Hut is, guys, it's in Austin, Texas, and I always like to preface what they are because some people may not know what it is. It's a restaurant that had 3 bars, 2 of them outside, but this restaurant, had like over 250 employees.
And it was on the lake.
It was on the lake.
It still exists.
It's still here if you want to come. It was so busy. I always told people, because I did work at another job as a waiter, and I remember working doubles at that job and it being like no big deal, but then working one shift at Hula Hut and I would just come home sweaty, drained, like I couldn't talk, my feet hurt, I wanted shots of alcohol, I just wanted to cry sometimes. But you made so much money, but it was so busy, so this place was crazy. So you having nightmares, I get it.
And at this age, I haven't worked there, and I can't even tell you how long, but that's the only job that I've ever waited tables of any kind, and I was a cocktail.
Yeah.
And I still have recurring nightmares.
Yeah, that place was crazy.
How that translates is that I'm really, really nice to anybody in the service industry.
Yep.
And anytime my dad whines about like something taking too long, I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe the kitchen's slow. It's not necessarily something that you need to ever,
complain about. If someone gives
like,
me a lime instead of a lemon, I'm not gonna fucking bitch about it. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. It's citrus. Get over it. I don't like dirty silverware. I will say if something, it looks funky, I'll be like,
but again,
can I have
that's
another
not
one?
your waiter's fault. It's
No,
like
it's not.
somebody
And
who
I-
wrapped that
And I'm
stuff.
never mad about it. I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
this is dirty.
Yeah.
I will, because it's going in my mouth.
Switch back mics.
Switch mics
Yeah,
again?
switch, yeah. Because that one's actually louder now.
No, is it louder? Ooh, is it
it's
just
just
me?
you.
It's just me. I talk loud.
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
do.
ooh, that's a little.
Anyway.
I think it's the angle. But you know what? That I think even when bartending on a busy night, because I had nightmares last night, like, so we got done at 2 a.m., like stopped serving, and literally I stopped serving 15 minutes early because the 2 people that were around my bar were like lit, and I was like, I'm not serving you. But you know, I stopped, I got home around 4 o'clock, and I have to be here, and I needed to leave by like 9, 10 in the morning. And I kept like thinking of Crown Apple and pineapple because people were ordering it all night, but they were saying apple, Crown, and pineapple, and I kept getting confused. And I was pouring vanilla and regular Crown, and like Crown is like the vein of my existence right now because everybody orders it. And I was having nightmares.
Do you hate like picking up that bottle too? Crown, fuck you. That bottle sucks. Like when you're in a hurry, it's so fat and stumpy, and you can't like hold onto it right. Like, cause you know, like all the other bottles, you can flip them real fast and like get your shit. I feel like I have to grab the bottom of it, and I'm holding it all weird. Is that just me?
Crown, for a lady bartender, my hands are like 2 inches shorter than yours.
Horrible.
And the side of the bottle is actually narrow, so I actually like it because you can do that, or you can like put it down and then flip it from the bottom.
Yeah, see, I hold it from the bottom too. I'll flip it up and hold
but
it.
it's narrow.
But I shouldn't have to do that. You need to think about this, Crown. Fuck you. Anyway, so, I have nightmares too, but you know, it's usually because I have like a million jobs.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest fear is time. Like I'm always afraid I'm going to be late for one of my jobs, or I don't know where I'm going. Like I'll wake up in the morning and be like, what job am I going to? Like what day is it? That's kind of my biggest fear. But you know, it happens. Do you? And what night? So your nightmare was the tables, but do you ever have like, I call them weight mirrors?
Well,
Weight
yeah.
mirrors.
So it has to be said because people always comment on the fact that, oh, you're a middle school teacher. Oh, that's like the hardest age ever. I don't have nightmares about kids. I don't have nightmares about lesson planning. I might have nightmares about grading papers. Let's be honest. I hate grading papers. It's the one thing. No.
But you still have nightmares about service industry.
Yeah, like people always question how hard my job is as a middle school teacher, but the fact of the matter is like I would never, like we're talking if I'm down and out, I don't think I could, because of my recurring nightmares. It shows me that was probably my most traumatic job because you get a lot of good people, like you get a lot of cool people that you can like really have a conversation with, but I don't know if you remember this. You worked with me, but I got a guy kicked out and with an evil smile on my face because he earned it. But it was one of those things where I was
What did he do?
Yeah, what did he do?
He was a cocktail, or I was a cocktail waitress, but because I'd started off at the hostess stand and was really good at like being a micromanager and I had the little Britney Spears headphone on.
Let's be real, hosts are all 15.
But
they need someone to wrangle them.
Well, so they called me one day and they were like, "We will pay you double. We've got to have somebody in here because this is our busiest night." And so this guy, I had already gotten the sassiness of the cocktail waitress down, and this guy comes in and he was the typical, I'm just gonna say it, boat trash, where he probably lives, you know, all of his money's put in his boat, and
if you don't know boat trash, think of Joe Dirt. If you know what Joe
Dirt is. Are you saying
boat?
Like boat?
Boat trash.
Where he spends all his money on his boat and thinks that
Definition.
because he has a nice boat but no class, that all of a sudden he is worthy of being at the top of the, what was then 3.5-hour wait.
Yeah.
So Hula Hut used to be like the most visited place in Austin, even over the state capitol. And so it's kind of gone down, and it's still great.
It's not they don't call it the butt hut anymore. They don't call it the slut hut. I mean, there was names for that place, and it was wild. They called it the stripper Sundays. Remember stripper Sundays when all the owners of the strip clubs would come in, and I would bartend for them. And on the pier bar, and I would be so happy when they would come because they would literally buy like 4 bottles of Patron and then tip you like $500. And girls were everywhere. It was wild. It was crazy. So yeah, that place was nuts. But it's not like that anymore. It's really not.
So it's calmed down since then. But I remember, so this guy comes in with his whole family, and he's like this entitled guy, you know, the classic night. He's the type of guy that recurring nightmares are made of. Anyway, he's quoted as like 3.5 hours, and then every 20 minutes he's like, "What about now?" I'm like, "Well, sir, it's been 20 minutes, now it's, and I just kept subtracting, and finally, and it was one of those nights where the buzzers kept dying, or people would drive off with them on their boats. They had like little pagers.
Yeah, little pagers.
I thought you meant birds, like the buzzers, birds. I was like, oh my God.
No, like the pagers.
Kind of trash
And
places
I
to
kept
play.
like paging people, and they wouldn't come, and he was like, well, what about, and it was a party of 7, and he was like, what about that booth? Is one of the booths inside. And he just kept terrorizing me, and finally he was like, you see, son? And I was, I started out as an interior architecture major at UT and then switched over to communications, and he was like, you see, son, maybe one day when, and basically was like calling me stupid and all these other things, and I didn't even like flinch, but everybody around him was like, ooh. And so I was like, you know what, go ahead and sit over there. And anyway, just enough time, and they were all crammed, party of 7 in this booth of 6, and they're all like, clowns in a circus car, and just for me to go over to Dave. Do you remember our manager, Dave?
Dave, yeah.
And I told him what they said to me, what the man said to me, and he literally went and reamed him and kicked him out right there. Like,
What did he say to his
escorted
son?
Oh, just basically was like, you see, son, one day when you're educated and da-da-da-da, you'll be able to figure out. It was
He basically was saying that she was a host, that she was stupid.
and
That's
stupid
it.
and could not figure out, and it was just circumstances. But it just goes to show you that service industry people, y'all are underpaid, underappreciated. That's the moral of
get
the
it.
story is.
So then you decide to jump into the next underpaid
I
and
know.
underappreciated
'Cause
profession.
that was going to be my next question. Was like,
Can I get
my way?
where was the transition from, like, working in the cocktail waitress world to being like, what made you think about
happened? Yeah,
going
why'd
into
you leave?
education?
And how hard was it? Like that cash on hand and all that.
So I left Hula Hut to go study abroad in Spain, and in Sevilla, for anybody who's ever been there. And me and my potluck roommate, who's still one of my very best friends to this day, Michelle, we decided we had way too much time on our hands because we had a professor. We went to travel, to be honest.
Okay.
And we had a professor that was like, if you miss more than 2 days, you're going to fail. So we decided to start a program teaching English at the local elementary. That's when I decided I want to be a teacher, but my dad was like, you're cut off in 4. But I remember this
Wait, you
5-year
said you're cut off?
cut off in 4 because I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I've been teaching English at this local elementary. I love them. And he was like, because I switched from interior architecture to communications already. And he was like, nuh-uh, I already know this game. And I'm like, no, but really, I
You
love
literally
it.
thought you were probably just like, you're going to be like perpetually in college.
I'm
Kind of like
this
Van
and that
Wilder.
and this
Was it Van
and that,
Wilder? You're going
yeah.
to be like, I'm in school and I'm 56.
Well, I was thinking today, I was like, I should be a therapist.
Oh, God.
And I was like going to start looking into
But I
like
think that
therapy.
most-
Listening to everybody's problems who aren't willing to actually do anything to change them, I actually had an epiphany because everybody's like, you should be a counselor. I'm like, no, I would
think we all
have
do that,
zero
though.
tolerance.
But you were
for people
young,
who
too,
aren't
right?
willing to change anything.
Like, how old were you when that happened? I mean, you were young. So
I was a junior in college at UT, and
junior in college is what? I don't know.
but a
I didn't
5-year-old
make it that far.
basically called me out. So for those of you who
21?
maybe
21?
not, yeah,
Okay,
21.
that's young. See, that's young. I think 21's
I
young.
had this 5-year-old call. He was like, do you even speak English? After I did not know the British version of the alphabet song. It was like completely random, and then it was like, and Z, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? And then
Where
it
is
was like,
this?
to stand in the queue instead of to stand in line. The water closet, is that where you keep the water heater?
A water
like,
closet.
what?
I know.
Yeah, that's the
The
restroom.
WC. Oh, no.
And when were we
I've been to
ever
Europe.
exposed to the British versions of things prior to just experience in adulthood? And so, yeah, this 5-year-old literally this is the same kid that I'd broken up a fight with because they were sitting there debating who was the better football team. Soccer. Oh, yeah, these 2 5-year-olds went at it like fists swinging, and I'm sitting there just like trying to be serious, but dear God, trying to also keep it together and like not laugh hysterically, is the same 5-year-old who called me out on not knowing English. And it was at
always
that
a little
moment.
terror.
It was at that moment, though, that I decided I wanted to be a teacher because instead of getting defensive, instead of getting upset, I was like, I died laughing, fell out of my chair, like literally fell on the ground laughing. And I was like, you know what, kid, you're right. I don't speak English. So, and later I became an English teacher. I'd like to just point that out.
I think so this is...
That 5-year-old kid that's now 15,
I know.
fuck you.
Fuck you and thank you.
No, I love you.
That's
that's what told me I was meant to be a teacher. Is
No, yeah. I think
nothing
you're a
that
great
a
teacher.
middle school kid is going to say to me is going to affect me even slightly.
No.
Yeah, I was the director of a Boys and Girls Club when I got out of undergrad, and I moved here to Austin, started working at a Boys and Girls Club, and put an ad on Craigslist. This is how I came to the bar. I put an ad on Craigslist when it wasn't like the dirt of the dirt. It was still like the thing, you know?
Craigslist,
like it was,
I know. Is it still a thing?
yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
like scammer.
Maybe it's like
Is it
dark
a-
web now or something. I don't know.
It should be called dark web. Yes.
But like,
yes.
so I put an ad and I was like, ex-collegiate athlete looking for a softball team. And this dude named Ryan like replies back to me and like 12, 13 years later, whatever we're at now, like we're best friends still or whatever. But like I started playing softball and then I was hanging out at the bar and then I started hanging out with all the people that worked here at the bar. And then I was playing with Joey and I was like,
You just got in.
yeah, I was
you had
like,
the in.
yeah, you get the in. Like, but it was like genuinely hanging out. Like I didn't want to bartend. It wasn't that. And then like one day we were like all drinking because that was normal. And I was like, I want to bartend with y'all. So, and then like
I
months
love it.
later. So yeah,
Well,
it's
I
all
think
random how you get to where you're going.
It is really random, but I think that honestly though with her, like knowing Hannah the way I know her, you were always, because you said micromanaging earlier, and you were always like, if it never failed when you are like, not even Angel, but like Emily. Do you remember Emily? Like Lou's older sister? Or no, there was like 3 hosts that I knew that were like, when they came to work, everything worked smoothly. And she was one of them, because when I went to work as a host, I was like, I'll take $20 and you can say whatever the fuck you want. So I mean, I was a really bad host. Sorry guys, I can say that now. It was 20 years ago. So yeah, you were like, you would come into work and it was like, Mom's here. Let's just, let's
Okay,
go to work.
fun
guys.
mom. Fun mom is here.
Let's clean menus. You know, like fuck that queso. You clean it yourself.
Well, I will tell you, I am ADHD as they come, and that is part of it, is the OCD that comes with it. And I used to be just like a frazzled mess. And I will tell you, I learned that just the hyper-organization in an early age, and that's why I work as, as a hostess, as
No,
a
you were
cocktail,
so
as
good.
whatever. But it's like, if I have chaos in my environment, I lose my mind. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
No, I
Which
think you were
planet
good.
am I on?
And the fact that honestly you would correct my
Yeah.
English just makes it even better that you're an English teacher now. Because I remember one time, and I'll never forget this shit. I will never forget
Them
this shit
double
in
red
my
dou-
entire life. Yes, that's
red
the story.
double doors, them red double
I was a
doors.
host, and you would have to tell people to go through the red double doors and down the stairs, blah, 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 blah. And the next host will see you because it was such a big restaurant. I said, go through them red double doors. And she lost her mind. It's like her hair got curly and straight again. And she looked at me
Laughing,
and she
not
goes,
mad. I was just laughing.
"Excuse me, what?" And then you were like making fun of me, and I was like, she questioned me what I said, and I said it again, not knowing it was wrong. And then I was like, what is what is wrong with her? And she was like, go through the red double doors. And I was
Or
like,
those red, but them red.
I was like, that's what I said.
Red double. I can't
So
remember.
she spent a lot of time like correcting you.
she spent a lot of
That was one time that was the only thing that I ever corrected.
Probably more than, you probably might have done it more.
Okay,
because
so-
I was a backwoods kid.
No, I will
got
tell you, the
trouble
one
with
thing that I
voice.
remember is you putting your hand in my face, and I was like,
Oh, yeah, I did it one
that's
time.
not going to work.
I remember that because I was being talked to on a headphone.
He was being
Yeah.
a diva.
And she came
He
up
being
and
a
she was talking to me, and I was on the headphone, and they were trying to talk, and I couldn't hear them because she was talking to me, and I went.
Oh, he literally went like this.
It was like, and I was like, and I was like listening, but it was a manager trying to get
Yeah.
through and tell us what to do, but she didn't know, and
No, it was just a stressful day. It was a typical
a stressful moment.
stressful-
But you know
and I put
what,
my
like-
hand in her face, and I
But
was like,
all service
"Stop."
industry people, like whoever you work with,
Yeah.
like y'all are literally a family. Like that's why people always say it, because
Mm-hmm.
you work in close proximity. It's high stress. It's sometimes good money, but it can be really bad. Like so you argue and like you cuss, and like if you're bartenders, even if we were next to each other, because we have so many clientele
Oh,
the
yeah.
same.
We would totally get on each other's nerves. probably for a
Yeah,
minute.
and like even me and Aaron, like it's weird because we'll both step back when somebody approaches us at the bar that we both know. Just
let them
because
choose.
Yeah, just because we have respect for each other.
Yeah.
But like when it comes down to it, most of the time we're just like, one of us have to take the people. Okay, so that brings me to this. So finish this sentence. Are you ready? All service industry people
Should
Drink.
be treated with respect.
I say drink.
Drink.
Because you're still there. Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
like, teachers, they
Yes.
drink too. So
Okay,
I
what
get
was
that.
yours?
Oh, I said should be treated with respect.
I think you're absolutely
Okay.
right. I think everyone should make their kids work in a restaurant or something like that, just so that they all understand how hard it is to
Wow.
be in that industry and how difficult it is. And that everybody, again, does need that respect, because just because they're older and they're working in a bar doesn't mean that they're uneducated or don't know what they're doing. Again, a lot of us, we talk about how we've got, I mean, look at how many certifications I have through trade schools that I've gone to and done. I'm literally, I could get hired like this in any medical spa.
Yeah.
And work under doctors.
And I have 3
And you
degrees.
got 3 degrees, and you are a teacher, and it's like, we all do things, but we all started
And I'm
somewhere.
probably the lowest paid person out of this group. That's the thing.
You are,
Like,
probably the, you are the
let's
lowest
be
paid.
honest.
I will be honest, yes, you are. But I will also,
know that I
will
am.
also say this, though, that you have one of the most gratifying jobs, though, because I think that for you, probably, it's all about what you're doing for the future for those people. Blake, Jesus
Gosh,
Christ. Blake
Blake.
some shit much? Anyways.
Target on the show. You can
I'm like, that's
find
coming out of your
Blake
check.
on Instagram handle,
I know.
send threats. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's crazy because teaching is so difficult, but I think it's probably one of those gratifying jobs. Like you probably just feel really good about it, don't you? I mean, like kind of
love
molding.
the kids. Like that
molding
is
the
my
kids.
love.
Yeah.
Is that, and I will tell you because you're so spiritually connected. Like very much an empath. I like can feel when a kid's having a bad day or they're stressed or they're anxious or whatever. And I'll tell you, a recent kid was like, I could feel his anxiety, and I was like, come here. Gave him a giant hug, and he was
Aw.
like, oh, thank you, I needed that. And I was like, why do you feel so anxious? And he was like, how do you know I feel anxious? I was like, I feel it. And he was like, wow. And he was like,
You've
trying
always been
out
like
for
that, though. I
first-
think that's
oh yeah, but
amazing.
you are too.
I know, me too.
You have your own gifts and their own, but I think that's super cool. And it's like, I live for the connection. It's not about what I teach. Like, I love it when kids have those aha moments,
Yeah.
but the counselor in me, which is why I realized I couldn't be a counselor, like to what I said earlier, like when people aren't willing to change, it's more the organic relationships that you make with your kids and helping them to, especially in 6th grade when that is the most pivotal. We all have our shit.
Yeah.
We all have our
6th
shit.
grade was
And I feel
rough.
like it comes in different forms. Like people think, oh, you teach in Westlake, so you don't see kids with problems. No, they just have different versions of them.
Yeah.
And I will
That's a
tell
really good
you-
point.
Yeah, money does not make you happy.
It doesn't, and
They have divorces too. They have,
I've dealt with some
kids
stuff.
that probably get,
And
mistreated
those are my
and
babies.
whatever.
Like I loved it. But I will tell you, I taught at a really rough school up in the Dallas area. Those were like literally they would call me mom. These were gang members, drug dealers. We're talking like some really
Kids that were handed a hand.
yeah, in survival mode.
Yeah,
That's
in
the way I
survival,
was-
yeah.
and they knew that I loved them, and it was one of those things
That's
that
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing because they genuinely knew that I loved them, and they would come see me early in the morning, stay after school to like teach me things. And it's like I'm never too cool to like say that
No.
I can't be taught anything. No, teach me something. And
Yeah,
I
no,
remember,
we were just looking for a Gen Z to help us with the eye thing. What?
Oh yeah, an iPhone. No, my MacBook. My
oh,
MacBook.
my kids
the
save
book.
me like with technology all the time. All the
Kids
time.
are great for technology.
Oh my
'Cause
God,
I don't know
they're
how to,
amazing.
I don't know how to fucking do shit. And it's like I need to find me if you're 16 and under, come work on my shit because you know how to fix this. 'Cause
Well, you know
I
what's
don't know
great?
how to do
All
it.
my friends are like in their 40s and 50s and 60s. So like they're like, Legina, I'm like, well, yes. Please let me show you how to screenshot.
You feel like you're the young one? Let me
I
show,
am.
Let me show you how to turn it on with face recognition.
I am.
That is ridiculous. I
I
love
fly
it.
to Mexico with old people, and I
You
go
do.
to
You
Florida
do.
with
You have
old
fun.
people, everything. So
Well, we've got about 15 more minutes, so I want to get into another segment that we love.
Let's go.
We have Bar EDU. We kind of jump around, but
I have
love
one.
this segment because Bar EDU is something that it's basically when we talk about pet peeves and things that we want to things that we want to
Where do
work
I
on.
start?
But we like to educate our listeners too
it's
as
a
well.
teach and praise
to
thing, 'cause
kind of
sometimes
like
it's a praise.
walk in and maybe respect the situation before you go and act like a little piece of shit, or you walk in and scream, "It's my birthday," and then fall down on the ground and roll around and pretend like you were just, pretending like you wanted to roll around on the floor. Meaning that happened yesterday to a lady that got kicked out of here immediately right after she did what I just said she did. She came in and screamed it was her birthday and goes, "It's my birthday!" and then fell on the floor and rolled around.
was she drunk?
Wasted. And I was like,
Way to
well,
start off the new year on your birthday.
You were kicked out of your bar. So this is the part of the episode where we talk about that. So,
Bar EDU.
What's one of your pet peeves in the service industry situation? Like, think about when you were cocktailing, or if you were the host stand. Who did something, or what was a repetitive thing that just was like, ugh?
Entitlement. Honestly, and that goes across the board. Entitlement is my biggest pet peeve. Like, where do you get off thinking that you should be served first, or, whatever, when you just walked up and these people have been waiting patiently and without saying a word, and you think that I'm just because you're the loudest, most obnoxious, that I'm going to serve you first. No, that's just, entitlement.
Okay, I get it. Entitlement is a wonderful. That's a good one, honey. So yes, high five to that one.
That's like a really good
What's
one.
one of your
I think
pet
that
peeves?
goes across the board. Just to say,
no, it does.
No.
industry, anything,
Entitlement.
entitlement.
Yeah.
What's one of yours?
Yes, because I thought about that last night. There was a moment I had to step away from my bar because my Sunday's my long shift, and you either have nights, the energy, like the moon, all that stuff. All service industry people believe the moon affects people's.
Because they get crazy.
Yeah, so
Full moon.
people were thinking they were first all night just because, like, I try to move people in and out of my bar quickly, and so there's always like at least one spot, and somebody will walk up and think that it's their turn just because I went here and I have to go all the way back around. But my little peeve right now is, it's been happening a lot lately, is let's say we're all together, but we're ordering separately.
Oh.
But I decide to order the 3 vodka sodas, a lemon drop, a whatever, and a whatever, and the bartender makes everything, and then I'm like, it's $42.75, and you're like, no, mine is just the vodka soda and the lemon drop. And so
Then
not
just
only,
order that.
Not
Don't do
only
that.
do I have to delete the 4 items, I have to now put
Delete and subtract
and then put yours in, and you paid with cash, and she's paying with card, and he's paying with a gift card, and then at the end of it, you turn around to your friend directly behind and try to order something else. And I'm like, so I went and did homework the other day, and there is this badass bitch named Ashley that works at Davenport's in Houston, Texas. I have to shout her out.
Okay.
She holds
Hey,
it down.
Ashley.
And like, I had to get like a revamp on how to speed bartend because I'm old. And and I was like, okay, a really nice thing that she said was this guy was waiting a long time, and he was like this at her the whole time. And then when she came to him, he goes, oh, I want, and then he goes, and she
Oh,
was
no.
like, no, she's like, please get everything in one sentence and tell it to me. And I was like,
write that shit down. That's beautiful.
and so I did it last night, and kind of like flopped because they were like, no, that's it. I was like, okay, I got it.
You tried to work your sentence and it didn't work out for you.
not that busy.
That's okay. One day you'll get there.
But
It'll
so
be
that's like my little peeve right now, is that like, just order for yourself, or if 2 people are ordering, be like, I'm getting a vodka soda and this, and she's getting this and this, and we're paying separate.
Yeah.
That works too, because then I know before I go back into my brain.
Yeah.
So that's mine. Yeah.
So I have 2 issues, and they both happened yesterday. And one was kind of piggybacking off of what you did. There was a guy that was standing at my bar, and obviously I was by myself, and I was running in circles. Hey, Josh. I was running in circles. I was super crazy busy. Again, those guys were like, you rock. Anyways, this one guy walks up, kind of like in the front, like station 1 area. And so I was over by station 2, like on this other side over here, and I was working my way around, and like literally I got back up to the bar, and he's immediately I said, hey, I'll be with you in a second. Without me even finishing my sentence, he starts blurting out orders, and he was like blurting them out to me, and he was like, I need a vodka soda, White Claw, and I was
like,
thinking
"That's nice."
of all of the things I was adding to other people's tabs when I had just served all those drinks, and he fucked me up because I was like, at that point, then I was like, did I put a White Claw in someone's drink? Because he said it. And then I was like, and so I looked at him and I said, hey, don't do that shit. I was like, I'm not there. I said, will you talk? I said, I have 50 things in this brain right now, and you are now, you ruined it. So now I had to go back and ask. So I had to
You're
look
like,
at
"Back of the
everybody
line."
and be like, okay, there was 2 Dos Equis over there. There was, a shot of tequila here. There was 2 beer, whatever. And so that really kind of pissed me off yesterday. I was just like, dude, don't do that. Just wait your turn and be patient.
Yeah,
I never remember all that.
I was remembering everybody's, and I'm really good at memorizing
I'm
everyone's
terrible.
stuff. But he threw a wrench in my work.
And it really does mess it up. Like I say last night, like I'm not really a good bartender, but like I say last night I was at like an 8.5 to 9. Like I was flying, I was doing good. I rang like
Jesus
good.
fucking
Yeah,
Christ,
I was
that's a
killing
lot.
it.
I did 18.
Oh yeah, no, I was killing it, and
Mama.
I'm like going in circles and moving and everything, and by accident, I literally like I was over here, and this person was over here, and I had looked up while I was scooping ice, and they just gave me this really pleasant smile. It was super chill, like no meanness, and nobody around the bar at the time was particularly like being rude or an asshole or anything, but like. I don't even know what I did, but by instinct, I went over then and said hi and took their order. Like, I didn't skip everybody, but I took their order.
Right.
It's a nice smile.
Yeah, they were just really kind, and it was just like,
It helps to
and
smile.
I was like, oh my
It does.
God.
Oh,
yeah,
kindness
and
is
And you're
everything.
I'm
polite.
like sweating on my back, like my bra, like I don't look cute.
I
Like,
cut my fucking hand on a champagne thing yesterday.
took-
and
I
I'm
took a chunk
bleeding
out of my
making
finger last
drinks.
night. Yeah.
I'm bleeding making drinks, and then I had to go get Band-Aids, and so but I did not stop. I just kept going, and everyone's
don't
like,
stop.
are you okay? And I'm like,
you don't care.
what's your order, bitch? I gotta go. I
You
gotta
don't
go.
care.
You don't give a shit. You
No,
know,
I took a chunk out of this finger
Yeah, I
from
see
a
it.
Dos Equis bottle. Dos Equis, you're dangerous.
Oh, especially when they get cold and you try to pull them and they get stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And
happens
so
all the
it
time.
got stuck because you can see where it scraped, and then it got stuck under my hand too.
Yeah, dangerous.
So yeah. And so it had happened right after that. Like I was like, I want to cry, but nobody cares, and I
Nope.
can't stop.
They don't give a
And then
shit.
the person was just like, it was like a little angel, and I was like, hi, how are you doing? What do you need? Absolutely. Like,
I think that's human nature. Like, I think that I never, like, try, and I'm not saying me, but, like, I never try to rush a bartender. I never try to,
You
like, make
shouldn't.
it about myself.
'Cause
And
they will take care of
granted,
you
I
if you don't.
typically get served faster than other people because I just have this air of, like, you know what? Get to me when you get to me.
There was an
I'm
older guy
fine.
that was doing that, and he was standing over here, and he was just so fucking patient, and I could just see that he was just, watching me work and do my thing, and he was by himself, and when it got to him, he was like, I can't remember what it was, like a beer, I think he was like a Duchette's or whatever, Duchette's, I don't know, I can't say it, shit, that IPA, whatever. Anyways, I saw it, and I don't know what it is. Anyways, he asked for it, and he was so polite that I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna get this beer for you because you were so sweet. He didn't look frustrated because I was taking forever.
Yeah.
He was just standing there and he was like, no, I'm happy to pay for it. And I was like, no, I'm happy to give this to you because I know you waited a long time.
Again, lack of entitlement. Like,
I was
that is
like,
appreciated.
Yes, I was like, I know you waited a long time. I'm gonna buy this for you. And he still threw down a $5 bill and he was like, all right, you were awesome. And then he walked
Aw.
away. And I was like, that just made me feel good because he was so sweet. And then on the flip side, to the asshole that didn't pay for your drinks last night, you owe me $22 because this happened too. Yeah,
well, you
fuck
know what? I'll say this, and it's so true. Any current service industry person can tell when somebody is service industry or was service
Yeah.
industry just by your mannerisms, how you talk, how you treat people.
Maybe he was old service
He
industry.
probably
He might have
was.
been.
Because sometimes when I feel like that, I always ask, I'm like, are you service industry? And they're usually like, I waited tables in
Yeah.
college or
He was
something.
so patient. I had the guy
They
that,
had recurring nightmares, too.
Yes. No, for sure. They probably had the nightmare
I'm
before.
telling you.
No, there was a guy in last night too that he ordered rounds of shots. He was with these 2 guys all night long. He was literally the guy that had the empty White Claw and hitting the table.
Ew.
Yes, he
Ew.
did that 3 times at me while I was busy. And then he ordered shots at the end of the night, and he went paying one at a time every time. He didn't open a tab, he would just close out, which annoyed me. Anyways, but the guy at the end ordered 3 lemon drops. He winds up his card gets declined. So then they took the shots, and he was like, well, I'm gonna go to the ATM, which is right by my bar. So I said, okay. So he went, but I was super busy. And I started taking orders and running around. And when they came back, the 2 friends were sitting there, and then he was missing. And I was like, hey guys, I was like, is that guy coming back? Oh, he went to the bathroom. And your little your spidey sense goes off.
Somebody's about to fuck
And
me
so
over.
everyone's like screaming at me to get drinks, and I'm like, hold on, everybody. So I'm looking around trying to find the guy. And then one of the guys gets up and leaves.
Ooh.
And then I was like, oh no.
It's gonna happen.
And then the last guy, I was like, hey, so where'd your other friend go? Are y'all, like, what's going on here?
would've been like,
and he goes,
hey,
well, I
don't even know them.
He goes, I just met them today. He goes, I don't feel like I should pay for his drinks.
See, you called it.
You know what I
It was
did?
a system. I feel like it was a system. I feel like they just all worked me. And so, but the thing is, I've seen the middle one I've seen him in here a lot.
So you know who he is.
I'll get my money back.
Let me tell you, so Station 1
get it
hack.
back.
So my regulars, you know, the bar right there when you come in, my regulars would hang out there, and when somebody would do that, I'd be like,
Yes.
and
We all need our people.
one
Yes.
of my friends was a G. He used to be like,
Yeah.
and then like lean by the ATM, and I'd be like,
I needed someone like that. I needed my G. Or I see my boyfriend usually comes on Sunday and sits in my bar and hangs out. And it's funny because I've been like, Aaron, watch this or do this, or Aaron, go pick that up for, because he doesn't work here, my poor boyfriend. But I've made him be like a bar back here. I'll be like, can you go tell someone I need this, and this, because it happens. So thanks to all the boyfriends and girlfriends and
thank you to all the regulars, like RGs that like come in. And you put a post on Facebook about that, like, thanks to all the regulars.
I did, because on Saturday I was so thankful to all the Bear community in Austin, Texas. So thank you guys for coming out and having a good time and just being so fucking polite and then thanking me when they were leaving. It was fucking crazy. Like they were like, we had so much fun in your bar tonight. We had so much fun, and they were like, oh my gosh, we can't wait till the next party. And I was like, who are you people and where have you been all my life? I need you bears in my life, because they were so sweet. So anyway, so yeah.
So one of my secret, I guess it's not a fantasy, but like
a fetish?
No, hope and dream.
Oh, hope and dream.
Back in the day, I gave this up, but like I used to always wish that the Iron Bear management would ask me to like celebrity guest bartend over there. I would have died, because like
you should.
If I wouldn't have bartended at Oil Can Harry's for so long, I would have went over to Iron Bear. I love the Bears. Period.
Well, the Iron Bear is moving closer to us.
I heard.
They are 2 blocks away now, so I'm super excited. I'm excited
Where are they
because
moving?
I think
Like
they're
what?
moving to where the old Oslo used to be, which I remember that from like a meal. Across from Gloria's over on 5th. In
That's a
Lavaca.
big location.
So close, yeah. So they're moving close. So Iron Bear's another bear that's around the corner, but they were so far away. I always thought they were disconnected from the gay area, like 4th Street's our gay street.
Come on, Gaberhood trying
And
to
I was like,
close
no,
in.
Gaberhood was too far apart. I'm excited now that they're closer together, because I think that it's going to bring the community together. So a lot of people have been like, oh my gosh, are y'all nervous that they're Iron Bears? And I'm like, no, I'm not nervous, because I always feel like, this is one of my mottos, I don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing in their world. I care what I'm doing. I don't care what this bar's doing, that bar, that bartender, whatever. I care what I'm doing and what my guests are experiencing. Yeah. I don't really care what anyone else is doing. But for me, I'm excited, because I think it's the more the merrier, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's going to bring people to the community that maybe haven't wanted to walk the 4 or 5 blocks that it was over here. Because I don't want to do that shit either, you know? It's like, but now it's 2 blocks away. I'll pop over and see what's going on over at the can or whatever.
People used to ask about Iron Bear, and then they'd like be like, should we Uber? I'm like, it's a hill. Like, it's a hill.
It's a hill.
Like, you need to
That
take
walk
2
is a
shots
walk.
to walk up the hill. We did it before.
Yes, we have.
On one of our days
we
out.
Stumbled.
Yeah.
We stumbled up the hill. But anyways, yeah, it happened. So I'm excited about that. So, we're almost at the end of our show. But
I have one question.
Yes, what's your question?
What has been the hardest thing? Because you said it's been about 15 years. And so I was also thinking that you've
Teacher
had...
for 15 years.
Yeah, teacher. So you've had kids graduate that are now adults and may have children.
26 years old was my first year.
Do they have kids?
A lot of them do, and a lot of them
Isn't that
are
nuts?
on social media.
Hannah, that
Isn't
is
that
absolutely
nuts?
wild.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like my boys and girls club kids that like I knew when they were like in 8th and 7th grade and I was an undergrad, and even the ones here, like they'll hit me up on Facebook and I'm like, oh my God, like they're adulting and I'm like still trying to adult. Or whatever.
Are we ever going to grow up? I don't feel like I am.
But my question is, what was the hardest thing about transitioning? Because I know I've like been back and forth and had like a professional career and done professional and bartended, which is a profession. And the hardest thing for me was like cash to check and back and forth. But what's been the hardest like transitioning thing for you?
Honestly, so after service industry, after I graduated, I worked in politics, and then I worked in PR, and then became a teacher, which I actually feel like politics and PR were the perfect preface to teaching. I would say that as far as hardest transition, I would say grading papers. Like I love building curriculum. There's so many things, but like I I don't miss anything about the service industry because of the fact that's why it gives me recurring nightmares.
Yeah.
I mean, bless people who are in it. Bless all of you, because my dad taught me from a very young age. He was like, doesn't matter if it's the gas, station attendant, if it's the custodian, if it's the bartender, if it's whoever, treat everybody the same. And that is something that has stuck with me. And I will tell you, that's the battle that I fight even at my school, where kids will leave trash on their tables for the custodians. I'm like, disrespect me, good luck with that.
That's
but disrespect
job.
The custodian who works 2 to 3 jobs and for bare minimum like that. I would say probably the hardest transition is just having to school the people that I'm like, that should know better.
Yeah. I mean, I can say with all the crazy stories and bitching that we do, I mean, but it's all in good fun, because at the end of the day, I super love it. And I would say that being in a service industry position, I'm hetero, I was raised in a 2-parent home, and I get along with my family, middle class and everything. It just really humbles you, opens your eyes, and makes you realize who people are, because service industry and customer service people are the people that actually make the world spin, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Without us, you eating? What are you eating? You're cooking at home and making your own drinks, bitch.
You have a shitty ass drink at home.
There you go.
And you wouldn't get sex.
Us teachers need you.
Yes. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for Hannah. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I'm so excited. Our first real straight girl and a first teacher we've had. So this season we're trying to
I am a real straight girl. Our first real white straight girl.
White straight girl guest. Is that what we're saying?
And don't let Texas fool you. He always loved me. He always adored me because of my sassiness.
Best people. I would go visit her, and I never go visit anyone. And I know I'm coming to visit you, but I would go visit her in Dallas. I know, because you moved in, but you always come here. I need to go to Houston. But I do want to say I thank you both for being here.
I live in Houston. I come here every other Monday. It used to be every Monday.
Yeah.
And most of the shows didn't work.
Drive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have sound issues. Anyway. But we'll talk about that another time. But thank you again for coming out on the show and hanging out and shooting the shit with us. We really love getting to know people, and we're really trying to bring more people from the service industry. But I have a friend that is a doctor that wants to be on here. I have a friend that's now a radio host, so CJ Morgan. He's on 101X. He'll be a guest on the show pretty soon. He's got some stories too, and so we're super excited about having other people from other walks of the world
that are doing both or have exited successfully.
And for anyone who's just watching the show that has questions about maybe getting into the service industry, maybe you're in school or college and you need something to pay your bills, bartending is a great way to do that. I've always been thankful that I bartended, because when I got into the bar industry, it was what funded me to buy all my makeup. I didn't have the money when I was starting off to buy all the kit that I have now, and it always I didn't live paycheck to paycheck per se, between job to job doing makeup, because I was bartending and always making money.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to take care of yourself. So and,
it is.
And I was gone for 5 years, but then I came back, and I'm happy I'm back. I don't know how long my back and my feet will let me do this, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you know what? For me, bartending in my 20s definitely afforded me travel and being able to pay my student loans at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now it's allowing me to be able to do my business ventures and still make a consistent income without donating my whole life to
or suffering.
Yeah, well, my body and my mind and brain. I do a lot of yoga, and then I have to pay for those
You do
float
trap
tanks.
yoga.
See, you treat yourself.
Trap yoga. You do that.
Girl, trap is my life.
yoga.
That's something that when people have in their lives.
Well, bartending is affording my new ass. So anyways, guys, so there you go.
Okay.
All right, let's be real. I'm gonna have a Kardashian ass. All right. So
watch out. You might.
I know. Watch
careful
out.
what you wish for.
Watch out, America. All right, guys. Well, cheers. Thanks. A little cheers at the end of the night. Thank you guys for sitting and watching. Thank you so much. And guys, if you're listening to this, again, follow us on YouTube. Go to our Instagram page. How may we service you? Hashtag. What do we hashtag? HMU. Wait a minute. Just
the
look
letters of how may we service you.
I can't do that.
You got
My
it.
brain isn't
How
working.
may
Anyways, do
we
that. And again, come to see us here for the next show.
W.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
she can do it. See us for the next show. The next show will be taped on February 3rd.
No, we're doing the 10th. Remember,
February 10th. February 10th. We'll be back on February 10th. So yeah.
So far we've had a real estate agent, bartender, a teacher, a cocktail waitress,
Waitress.
hostess,
Yes.
gone teacher.
Yeah.
right?
And our next one hopefully will be, I'm going to see if CJ will do it. So
Yeah,
we'll have
and
CJ
maybe
Morgan.
one of the drag queens from here that has a daytime
Kalia.
career.
Kalia. So yeah, so stick around, guys.
Yeah.
And again, you can always catch all our old episodes from season 1. We have 14 episodes on YouTube. Go like, subscribe, please leave some comments. And if you have any questions or if you need anything, please don't be afraid to hit us up on our Instagrams. Of course, those are always at the beginning of the show right there. So yeah, and follow Miss Hannah too. See what's going on in her world. She has 2 great dogs. I love her
my
dogs.
brothers.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Are you
them another time.
single?
Yes, I'm
Single?
She's single and hot and ready to mingle. So there you
Single
go.
and no kids. You can DM us about that too.
Oh,
All right,
so
kids.
sweet.
We
Well,
believe
thank
in
you so
love
much, Hannah.
connections.
Gina, love you.
Love
See
you.
you guys soon.
It's fun.
All right, bye.
May we service
May
you.
we service you.